Hello, and today we're going to look at three different temperature scales commonly used in science problems. Um, Celsius scale, the Fahrenheit scale, and the Kelvin scale. And we're going to look at these three different temperature scales and look at converting back and forth from one to the other. Okay? So that we can familiarize ourselves with, a temperature that, let's say, is given to us in Fahrenheit. Well, what would that be in Celsius, or what would be the equivalent temperature in Kelvin? Okay, so first of all, let's have a look. We'll start out with this guy here, 25 degrees Celsius. What would that represent if we were to convert that to Fahrenheit? Okay, well, when you are converting or changing a temperature reading in Celsius to Fahrenheit, here is the formula. We're going to take our temperature in Celsius, whatever that may be. In this case, it's 25, and we're going to multiply that by 1.8, and then we're going to add 32 to it. So let's do this to this guy. We take 25. We'll do this out the long way. The first couple we'll do the long way, and then after that we'll just simply slip it in there. So 25 times 1.8, and that's going to give us 45. And then we're going to add 32 to 45, and that is going to give us 77. So 25 degrees Celsius is 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, let's do one more. Let's go with, I'll do this here. Let's go with 30 degrees Celsius. And Fahrenheit and Celsius is not a 1-to-1 ratio. So for instance, what that means is if we took 25 and we bump it up to 30, well, that's 5 degrees Celsius. Well, we're not going to add 5 here. That's not going to cut it. Okay? If Celsius and Fahrenheit were 1-to-1 ratios, then that would be simple. We just add 5 to 77 and we'd have our answer. But that isn't the case. So we're going to write it down like so. Take 30, multiply it by 1.8, and that's going to give us 54, and we're going to add 32 to it, and that is going to give us 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? Now, let's do the opposite. Let's go from Fahrenheit, and we're going to go backwards, and we're going to go to Celsius. And we know it's going to be close to this, right? But we'll do it mathematically. So let's do this. Let's go with our formula here, and our formula is it's the opposite of what we did here. So the last thing that we did when we were going from Celsius to Fahrenheit was we added 32. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our temperature, whatever that may be in Fahrenheit, and we are going to subtract 32. Then we are going to not multiply by 1.8. The opposite of multiplying is dividing by 1.8, and that will give us our answer. So let's go ahead and do that. 78 subtract 32, that gives us 46, and we're going to take 46 and we're going to divide that by 1.8, and 46 divided by 1.8 is 25.5, which is approximately 26. And we knew that because look, we were in the ballpark over here. 26 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm sorry, 26 degrees Celsius. Okay. Let's do one that's not so close to the one that we just looked at. Let's go 95 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to take that guy and flip him to Celsius. Okay, so I'll do this one rather quickly. Same idea. We're going to subtract 32, and that's going to give us 63, working the calculator here, and 63 divided by 1.8 to get a little bit ahead of myself here, 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's 35. Now, let's look at Kelvin, and I'm just going to write this in here now so we can have it. If we're going from Celsius to Kelvin, then there is our conversion. We simply add 273. Okay, so let's go somewhere here. Let's go fresh. So if we have, let's say we have this 32 degrees Celsius and we want to convert that to Kelvin. Okay, so pretty straightforward. We're just adding 273 to our Celsius. That gives us 305. Therefore, 305 Kelvin and 32 degrees Celsius are equivalent temperatures. Now, one thing to note here, Celsius and Kelvin, they are, that they do have a 1-to-1 ratio. So for every Celsius that you increase or decrease, when you're talking about your Kelvin, it's going to do the same, increase or decrease. So here's what we have, a little sidetrack here, absolute 0, which is 0 Kelvin. I'll put the Kelvin in because if not it looks like okay. 0 Kelvin, and that is minus 273. It's actually 0.15 degrees Celsius. Okay, so there is our equivalent temperature at absolute 0. Now let's go for temperature in Kelvin. Let's say we have 260 Kelvin and we want to get that into Celsius. So we're simply going to take 260 and we're going to subtract 273, and that's going to give us negative 13. Therefore, we have a temperature of negative 13 or minus 13 degrees Celsius. Okay, let's do our last conversion here. What if we had something like this? 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and we want to take that guy and flip him over to Kelvin. Okay, the last trick here. First, we're going to take that and convert it to Celsius. Okay, so you convert our Fahrenheit to Celsius, and then we will go from there to Kelvin. So let's do this. We'll do one like this. So we're going to take 65, and look, we're going to go back over here and take a peek. 65, we're going from Fahrenheit to Celsius, so we're going to subtract 32 and divide by 1.8. Okay, so we're going to subtract 32. 65 subtract 32 gives us 33, and we're dividing that by 1.8. That gives us 18.3, and that's Celsius. And we know that when we are going from Celsius to Kelvin, we simply add 273. There it is there. So let's go back and try that again. Let's go back. So now we're going to add 273, and we end up with 291 Kelvin. 0.3 actually. Kelvin, and that is our answer when we look at 65 Fahrenheit converting to Kelvin. Okay, so you got to be careful when you're doing that conversion. You got to flip it to Celsius first. Okay, I hope this helps. Just having some fun with our temperature scales. Celsius, Kelvin, and Fahrenheit. So I hope this helped you. Any questions, feel free to email me and I'll get back to you. Thank you and have a great day.